Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office with another detailed update on the tropics for Sunday, August the 6th, 2023. In this update, we are going to be watching the tropics in the Atlantic. We're also going to be briefly updating you on major Hurricane Dora that remains a very strong Category 4 hurricane as it passes well south of Hawaii. This system is very, very small, but it's very strong at the same time. And then we're going to be looking ahead at the rest of August into September when we could see a lot of tropical activity in the Atlantic. Now, taking a look at our true color satellite imagery provided by Dr. Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com. There will be a link in the description below this video leading to his website where you can view these satellite images 100% for free. So we're taking a look at the main development region in the Atlantic right now, and we do have a couple of tropical waves that we are watching. Not enough for me to highlight anything at the moment, but yeah, there's a lot of deep convection here. The atmosphere throughout this area is relatively moist, but guess what? It's being battled with a lot of the Saharan dust and dry air to the north, and we can see some of this ghostly looking haze on the imagery, which indicates that there is dry air to the north that is impeding any tropical development. So all of the models, pretty much all the global at least, do not indicate that these will develop into anything substantial right now at the moment, which is good because, I mean, the closer and closer we get to late August, things are going to get more favorable for tropical development. But in the short term, we are not seeing anything out there that we're concerned about for any tropical development. But on the other side of things, we are keeping an eye on Hurricane Dora. Let's go to Hurricane Dora here. I mean, this system is pretty ironic. I mean, the system is very small, as you can see here on the visible satellite imagery. I mean, the eye is also relatively big for its small storm size. I mean, you just can't get any better than that. Very annular looking here on the imagery. And if we can see, this is basically where we have, actually, tropical storm force winds are only this far from the center, and hurricane force winds probably only extending like 10 to 15 miles out from the center. So this is a very compact, small micro scale type hurricane, despite it being a Category 4. My goodness, that is just fantastic to see on the imagery. It looks like a whirlpool, doesn't it? I mean, man, that's beautiful. I mean, I could just float in there and get sucked right into the whirlpool. No, I wouldn't ever do that, of course, but it looks very cool looking, as long as it doesn't impact anyone. And you can see the eye there as I go back in satellite images. I mean, very intense system. In fact, when we take a look at Dora right here, 140 mile an hour winds right now. 140 mile an hour winds. And when we take a look here at the NHC graphical forecast, yep, there it is, 140 moving to the west at about 21 miles an hour. It is going to remain a major hurricane probably now through the middle of this week before it begins to slowly, gradually weaken. But I mean, through the next 5 days, this is going to be a hurricane. So this is likely to not fall apart very quickly because, of course, it's an annular hurricane. It's very small, very intense. A lot of its wind energy is being focused in that eye wall surrounding the eye. And so right now, it's going to not impact Hawaii. There's no danger to Hawaii, but yeah, there might be some swells that emanate out of Dora. Once it gets over here, you're going to start seeing these high surf-like conditions coming away from the hurricane. All right, I wanted to show you all now on the Eugene here really quickly. 70 mile an hour winds. This is also not going to impact land, but it is expected to become a hurricane by tonight as this moves northwest, and it's no threat to any land areas. Maybe some monsoonal moisture being filtrated into the desert southwest eventually on the outer skirts of this system as its remnants move onshore eventually. Looking at the Atlantic really quickly, we don't have anything to speak of. I mean, very quiet out there. The next 7 days, so the next week, we're not looking at any areas to watch. But keep in mind, I will have to keep an eye on these areas down here to the south. If they do get more of my attention, maybe more model support, I may have to put an area to watch. And my tropical weather outlooks on my Twitter page, folks, are not from the National Hurricane Center. I want to make that clear with you all. In fact, if we do take a quick look at that, why not? You can see my tropical weather outlooks here. This is from yesterday, of course, and pretty cool that I make these. And again, not an official outlook. I want to really make that clear with you all. These are solely made by me, my own decisions, and my own opinions, along with Pat's Path Predictor. We both kind of collaborate on this, and so right now we both don't see anything developing in the next 7 days, which is great, because I bet you by the end of August we're gonna have a lot to track and a lot to watch for in the tropical Atlantic. So looking at the European model really quickly, we can see, going to go through this rather quickly because we have a lot more tabs waiting in line to so we can show you them. So this is a look at the vorticity. This is basically a look at the 850 millibar height lines, and these are wind barbs. So the winds are kind of blowing out of the north here. That's what the wind barbs usually indicate. The wind or the direction that the wind is blowing from and towards. Okay, and then of course your yellow and orange colors are your vorticity. Okay, I've explained this quite a bit of times. So going forward here, I'm just going to simply kind of move through this rather quickly because, again, there's really nothing to watch right now in the short term. Within the next 5 days, really no areas to watch. Maybe a weak tropical wave eventually in the central northern Caribbean into the Bahamas, but very weak indeed. Another good tropical wave coming off of Africa, but again, each of these waves carries with it lots of dry air coming off of Africa, and dry air and warm stable air in itself is very highly unfavorable for tropical cyclones. And going all the way out to 186 hours, which is about 7 days, we do have a tropical wave right here coming off of Africa. Maybe another one right here developing in the central Caribbean, but otherwise very quiet and calm. Okay, and the Euro has been very consistent this year at showing these type of evolution in its model runs, which adds more fidelity that we're probably not going to see anything right now through at least the 14th of August, maybe even the 15th of August, but I could be wrong. So don't take my words there seriously that, oh, we're not going to have any tropical activity. You never know. We could have some of those sneaky systems like Ian kind of popped out. Maybe, you know, like the last day of formation of these tropical waves could really explode in the Gulf. And we'll show you why in a second. The GFS model, there's our tropical wave out there. Again, the model not showing much of impetus on that. Going all the way out to 5 days. This is for Friday, August the 11th. Again, nothing to really watch for. Now, interestingly enough, though, this is for the next 7 days. Yeah, the GFS model wants to do fantasy land yet again. I don't understand why the GFS is just going a little over the top this year with the potential for tropical development. Maybe because those waters are so warm. But we do have a couple of tropical waves here on the GFS, or the Global Forecasting System. This is for August the 13th. Okay, but notice not many tropical waves coming off of Africa at this time. All right, and that's as far out as I'm going to go. Actually, I can go a little further out, but I'm only going out to August the 14th, which is a Monday. Yeah, look at that. We might have a signature here into the Gulf eventually, but again, only one model output is showing that, while most of the global models are not showing hardly anything out there in the tropics. Maybe more tropical waves coming off of Africa, according to the GFS, but it's time to wait. The ticking time bomb, we call it right now. So let's take a look at our sea surface temperatures now that we looked at our global computer models. Because this, folks, my friends, very concerning. Okay, and it takes me a lot. It really does to get me concerned and worried about the Atlantic. Okay, I want to make that clear with you all as far as sea surface temperatures go for the Gulf of Mexico too. I mean, first of all, let's kind of move up on our chart here. 28 degrees Celsius is the coldest we have down here right off the Yucatan Peninsula. You need 26 Celsius or 80 degrees Fahrenheit or greater to support major to violent hurricanes. Get it? Follow me on that? Do you follow me? But look at the entire Gulf of Mexico. 30 degrees Celsius right over here. Follow my pin here, folks. I mean, 30 degrees Celsius all throughout here. Okay? Right here. And then you got 31 Celsius right all in here. Okay, I know my lines are not very good. This is 31 Celsius. And then, yeah, 32 Celsius right all in here. That's not just on the shelf. That's a little further out. And at times, we have seen little areas here. 33 Celsius, 33.2 Celsius yesterday. And I'll show you proof of that on Weather Bell here in just a second. What my point here is, folks, is that water temperatures right now are in the upper 80s, 89 plus degrees Fahrenheit throughout much of the Gulf. These orange colors here, 32 Celsius perhaps, all in here. I mean, if we get, and I don't like to cause fear, okay? That I'm not here to scare you all. I'm not here to cause fear-mongering just to get views, just to get attention, so people can just come back and watch my videos, because some people like when I freak out, right? But I'm telling you, folks, all right, you can look it up for yourself. You can watch Mark Sadeth on YouTube. You can watch other YouTubers that are honest with tropical weather information. These sea surface temperatures, folks, are not good at all. And I have my eyes shut on this because, I mean, I'm just trying to make my point clear here. Sea surface temperatures, let alone 26 will get you, or 26 Celsius or 80 degrees Fahrenheit will get you major hurricanes. But sea surface temperatures, 31, 32 degrees, forget about it. You're going to get major violent hurricanes very quickly. It won't take long whatsoever. There is so much heat energy, so much latent heat release in the Gulf right now that if we get anything that moves into this area, it is going to turn bad very, very quickly. And I mean, in a matter of hours. I mean, look at Ian. Man, Ian exploded, and that was only in an environment of sea surface temperatures around 29 Celsius, 28.5 Celsius. Imagining if we had Ian, Laura, Michael, Irma, or Maria. Well, not really, because they didn't move into the Gulf. But, I mean, Harvey, Michael especially, and Ian. I mean, imagining this, that they existed down here in the Caribbean, and they were going to be moving into the Gulf. Imagining how quick they would intensify, because, I mean, how warm the waters are. This is getting a lot of people's attention, and it gets to me when I see sea surface temperatures like this. I cannot ignore this whatsoever. And the reason why I'm scared and I'm nervous about this is because when these tropical cyclones move over this area, it's just more octane fuel. It's more gas, more juice for these hurricanes to use up. Versus, say, if we had water temperatures 28 or 28.5 Celsius, right? Which is not as warm as 31.5 to 33 Celsius. Or 33 Celsius, that is. I mean, that's low 90s Fahrenheit. So that's what this area is here. This is 32 to 33 Celsius all throughout here, off the coast of Louisiana, off the coast of Florida. We are seeing sea surface temperatures 32 plus over here, off the Caribbean, over the Bahamas. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, it's not good at all. Okay, now looking at the entire Atlantic basin here, we can see Look at this. That is really warm sea surface temperatures all throughout the main development region into the southwestern Atlantic, which is over here near where a lot of us live. The Bahamas, if you are in Cuba, if you are in, say, portions there of Jamaica, Puerto Rico, the Leeward, Windward Islands, the Antilles, if you are in the Bay of Campeche, even if you're off the eastern seaboard, my goodness, these waters are very warm. So now I wanted to kind of compare you all with sea surface temperatures rather quickly here so we can move on, is that, let's go back to last year, okay? This is what we had last year, okay? Take note of these sea surface temperatures. Again, about 28.5 to 29.5 Celsius of waters. Maybe 30 Celsius at the very most. And I mean, that is the warmest it ever got. Okay, this time last year. And take note that water temperatures were still warming up all the way. They could still warm up potentially all the way until we get into mid-September. Okay, into mid-September, we could still see these water temperatures go up. Okay, so that's last year. But look at this here. Look at just the difference. Mark Sedeth, you got to watch this video, okay? Look at the difference. I mean, from that last year to that this year. Much warmer. Much more heat energy being expelled into the atmosphere. And I'm telling you, wait until late August into September, I believe. Okay, this is my personal opinion. And again, not to cause fear-mongering, scare, or anything. I truly believe we're going to have at least one Category 5 hurricane this year. I believe, okay, in my own honest opinion, we're going to have something that we have not seen since last year. Okay, that's just my own opinion. You don't have to agree with me on that. But I mean, the Gulf, the Caribbean, the Atlantic is really favorable as far as sea surface temperatures go right now. The atmosphere not cooperating, otherwise we would have a lot of these to contend with. It's very favorable right now to support violent hurricanes. That's Category 4, Category 5 plus. So now looking at the ensemble agreement, or the ensembles from weathernerds.com, an awesome website. The link will be in the description. Not much model support on the Euro side of things. Just nothing, not a lot of clustering of these models to give me attention right now. Yes, Pat's Path Predictor, you're probably aware of this cluster over here, but that's 7 or 8 days out. I wouldn't really agree on it just yet. I mean, there's a lot of variability in the models, the ensembles, so I would just wait for another few days to see what happens here. But right now at the moment, the tropics are expected to look pretty quiet for the next week or two. That's 7 days. Now looking at the forecast here, when will the Atlantic get more active? Some questions are being asked about that. Okay, Colorado State, you're forecasting a very busy season. Where is it? When are we going to see a lot of the anticipated activity that they've been talking about? These major hurricanes, a lot of hurricanes out there. Well, when we take a look at this, we could see somewhat of a favorable period here by mid-August, but as you just saw, maybe some dry air could get interrupted there, so probably not going to see a lot of activity here. We're probably going to have to wait for it in late August, where things might become a little bit more conducive, more greens there, which is more upward motion. These convective coupled Kelvin waves move eastward with time, as they typically do. And so this is typically when we will see more of our activity. And then usually in September here, usually it's game on. I mean, from early September during the peak, which is right here in time, we are probably going to see a lot of activity. And when you focus on this, this is a Hofmoeller diagram. That's this area right here that we're focused on. And that's this on the map. Okay, so follow me on that. Follow me. That's in the Atlantic right there. So we want to see with what all happens with this with time. So now, as far as climatological speaks, I'm going to get rid of my face so you all can see the entire graphic here. Okay. So when we look at this, we are roughly located right here. It's kind of like a you are here kind of deal. So when we play through this, or when we kind of show you this, I mean, we haven't begun the typical ramp up of the Atlantic hurricane season right now. Okay, we haven't. We're still kind of on a plateau. We don't begin that until about the 14th or the 15th of August. And usually by late August into September is typically when we can expect a lot of tropical activity. And to back that up, I have a few seasons to share with you on just how active it can get really quickly in August. So this is the 1999 Atlantic hurricane season. This season gave us, let's see here, where was it? This season gave us, if I can find it, gave us 176 ace points, which is quality over quantity, in other words. When you look at ace points, which is the accumulated cyclone energy, okay, you could have very high ace points in few storms, right? But they have to be long-lasting, long-tracking. They have to kind of accumulate. You can't see the short-lived type systems that rapidly intensify right before land, like Ian did, Laura did, Michael did. They're not going to produce a lot of ace points, even so they became Category 5s. So what we're seeing here is, I mean, look how dead it was early on for this Atlantic hurricane season in 1999, right? Very dead, right? Colorado State University, let's see with what their forecast was calling for. 14 named storms. The actual activity here was a pretty much 12 named storms, but when you factor in the depressions, we had 16 storms designatedly, but 12 named storms. So yeah, it was slightly below what Colorado State University did predict that year. But look at it, all came in late August into September, right? It was dead. I mean, dead. And then all of a sudden, the switch turned on. We had literally 5 major hurricanes to end that year. And look at, we had a major hurricane in the middle of November, which is pretty ironic, but it can happen once in a while. Let's take a look at 2010. Also that year, yeah, Alex did form back then in late June into early July. That's kind of like Dawn when it formed in mid-July, or early to mid-July, right? So, therefore, when we take a look at this, I mean, late August again, the activity really came. Earl, Danielle, Category 4 systems, Igor, Julia, very devastating hurricanes to hit land areas. So, just because it's quiet now does not mean it's going to be that way in late August or September. Okay? The climatological speaks for itself. Look at 2017. Another devastating season that gave us over 225 ace points. One of the worst seasons in quite some time. Okay? Very devastating, in other words. And look at it, we waited until late August to get Harvey, and Harvey in itself kind of developed last minute. Remember that? It rapidly intensified right before hitting land. And so you had Irma, you had Jose, you had Maria. Remember those? Just caused a lot of deaths, a lot of lives being lost because of that season. And look at it, all came in late August into September when we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major hurricanes. Yeah, literally between late August into mid-October. I mean, that's about 7 to 9 weeks worth of tropical activity. All right, when we got the majority of our activity. So what I'm trying to tell you all here is, it's quiet now. Use this time to get prepared for what's to come. Because at the end of the day, I'm here. My job is to save lives. Okay, that's basically the sole factor why I make these videos, is to make sure I update you all as often as I can, when I can, on the tropics, even on the US during winter season. That's what my job is, to make sure you guys are aware of these big winter storms that come in. And usually that doesn't begin until late November when I really talk about the US, or even mid-November in itself. But I want to make sure you guys are prepared for what's to come because it's quiet now. All right. But anyways, thank you all for watching this tropical weather outlook and discussion for Sunday, August the 6th, 2023. I sure hope this video helped you out a lot without causing too much fear mongering. But I'm telling you, these sea surface temperatures are ironically warm. I mean, it's just, I can't explain it. I'm speechless of how warm these are. But that's going to do it with this video. I'll be back with you more tomorrow with an update on the tropics.